stanza 9. Bottom of page 143 in the text. The reason to meditate on the right view. Without the wisdom realizing ultimate reality, even though you have generated renunciation and the mind of enlightenment, you cannot cut the root cause of circling. Therefore, attempt the method to realize dependent arising. Okay. So here again, we have the purpose for meditating on the right view. Okay? So these other two, the mind of renunciation and the mind of enlightenment, those are what we call practices on the so-called method side. Okay? The method. In general, there's method and wisdom. Okay? So the point is, the method side, there's an analogy, right? The method side is like the father, and the wisdom side is like the mother. Okay, so what does that mean? So the mother, okay, if the mother is an Indian, right, then the children will all be Indian, right? If there's an Indian mother, the children will be Indian. But the father, okay, if the father is German, okay, sorry, let's take a step back. I'm wrong about that. Since it's patrilineal, typically, right, an Indian mother can give birth to a German child, right, or a French child, whatever kind of nationality, okay? So, the wisdom being like the mother, right, means the three types of Arya beings, okay, all come from the wisdom side. Okay? You know Arya being? One who's realized emptiness directly. Okay? So we have the Shravaka Aryas, the Pratyeka Buddha Aryas, and the Mahayana Aryas. Okay? So all three, this is according to the Prasangika system, all three have the realization of emptiness. There's no difference in terms of the subtlety of their philosophical view. What is different is the method side, their motivation. And so if you have this mind of renunciation, there's actually then two subdivisions of that. You can have the mind of renunciation that wishes for, to attain the state of a Shravaka Arhat, or a Pratyeka Buddha Arhat. Then depending on which side of the method you have, that determines what kind of Arya you'll become, and later, what kind of, Arhat, I guess. You understand? Okay? So here it's saying, even though you've generated renunciation and the mind of enlightenment, those practices on the method side, if you don't have the wisdom realizing ultimate reality, then you can't cut the root cause of circling. Why is that? Because we had identified the root cause of circling to be this mind that grasps onto the true existence of phenomena. Okay? So, the real antidote to that, because this mind that grasps onto true existence, okay, we need to abandon it, we need to discover that the mind believed in by the ignorance, the object of it, that one doesn't exist. Then that mind goes away. You understand? So, anyway, Dharmakirti in the second chapter of the Pramanavartika talks about this, where in general, if you meditate on love and kindness, that can be the antidote for anger. Okay? Because you can't have one mind, the mind of anger, wishing harm to someone else, the mind of love, wishing them happiness. You can't, for one being at one time, wish those two contradictory things. So, in that way, love serves as an antidote for anger. Yes?
I'm confused.
Keep talking. Yeah?
Is this, okay, my assumption was that when you need wisdom realizing ultimate reality
Yes.
to attain nirvana, right?
Mm.
Okay. So then the idea is that some people stay in that and some people are not abiding to that, and then they move on to seeking enlightenment, and that is when they develop the ideas of bodhicitta in their mind, or the feeling of bodhicitta in their mind. So, but here it says, even if you generate a renunciation and the mind of enlightenment, is it not linear like that, or is it like, I'm a little confused.
Okay. So what's the question?
My question is, isn't the mind of enlightenment something that comes with bodhicitta?
Yeah.
And that is something that comes after you attain the wisdom.
I see. Okay. So, not necessarily. Okay, so the question is, now, I mean, to paraphrase your question, do we then have an order of these realizations, right? Can someone realize emptiness before they realize bodhicitta? Do they have to realize bodhicitta before emptiness? All this, right? That basically boils down to it. Dee's understanding is you would first have the realization of emptiness and then realize bodhicitta. Right? Okay. So, this is a subject of debate, but typically there is a presentation of the students or disciples of higher faculties, sharp, mental acuity, and those of lower faculties. Okay? Now, remember when we were talking about the 7-point cause and effect instructions, and we got to step 6, I myself will attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings? Okay. So actually, the sharp or the kind of lesser faculty, there's a difference here. It is said that the sharp faculty disciple, before they then say, I will attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, okay, they need to determine whether that is possible. Okay. So they have this mind, both of them, they get to step 6, and they say, I myself will free all sentient beings from suffering. Okay? But before the sharp faculty disciple kind of signs on the dotted line and says, I will achieve enlightenment, they need to say, they need to determine, they need to realize that enlightenment is possible. Now, how does one do that? You have to realize that the, grasping to true existence, as well as its imprints on the mind, basically the obscurations to enlightenment, that they're suitable to be abandoned. In order to do that, it's not this simple, but you need a realization of emptiness. When you realize emptiness, then you realize that the ignorant mind grasping to true existence is a wrong view. Since it's a wrong view, and that has this type of antidote that's in direct conflict with it, through repeated meditation on that, then it can be abandoned. So the sharp faculty disciple will necessarily realize emptiness before they generate bodhicitta. The lesser faculty disciple, they will, based on faith in their guru, right? Their guru will say, talk about enlightenment, talk about the qualities of a Buddha, And they have faith in their guru, and they're like, yes, okay, great. And they will then generate enlightenment, basically taking their guru's word for it, that enlightenment is an attainable goal. Now, is that, it's a hard and fast rule, how we normally debate on the courtyard, right? The prevailing view of Serhije is that for a sharp faculty disciple, they necessarily realize emptiness before bodhicitta. But the lower faculty disciple, some of them do realize emptiness before bodhicitta, but not all of them. Okay? That answers your question? Yes.
So, Venerable, the presentation when we study the 5 paths is for somebody following Mahayana, even to start the 5 path, the first path, you should have realized bodhicitta.
Yes.
And then you start the path, the first path of accumulation.
Yeah.
And then only at the path of seal, you realize direct realization of emptiness.
Direct realization of emptiness. But you have to realize emptiness indirectly first, conceptually.
Okay.
So what this is saying, and those of you who haven't studied these 5 paths, okay, we can talk about it maybe later, but just for you and the others who have, to put it into this context, that means there's people who have not even entered the path of accumulation who realize emptiness.
Conceptually.
Yes, of course. Someone who's realized emptiness directly must have either full-fledged renunciation. Okay, so when you get full-fledged renunciation, coming, not even one day, day and night seeking liberation, right? Then you enter the path of accumulation of the Hinayana path. Angajara bodhicitta, you enter it's the first moment of the path of accumulation. But there are some who, they're going to enter the Mahayana. They have step 6. So this is another big debate, but it seems the prevailing view, again, Asceta J, is to realize emptiness, you need to have at least step 6 of the 7-point cause and effect instructions. Not just, I don't know. Right? Then emptiness, then bodhicitta, which is simultaneous with the path of accumulation, Mahayana path of accumulation. Okay? We got that? So here, root cause of circling is ignorance. Grasping to true existence. To abandon the ignorance grasping to true existence, you have to realize the non-existence of true existence. The non-existence of true existence is the meaning of shunyata, emptiness. Okay? So then, one other thing that's quite, comes up in a lot of the commentaries, right? The last sentence says, therefore attempt the method to realize dependent arising. Lama Tsongkhapa is not saying, therefore attempt the method to realize emptiness. So here there's a special meaning, like a harmony between dependent arising and emptiness, and this is now going to come and become clear, hopefully, in these next verses. One who sees the cause and effect of all phenomena of both secular existence and the state beyond sorrow is forever under train, and for whom any object trusted in by the grasping mind has completely disappeared, has at that time entered the path pleasing the Buddhas. So this is showing the right view. Okay. So you see, remember, the grasping mind is the ignorant mind that grasps onto what? True existence. Okay? So the object trusted in by the grasping mind, does that exist? No, that doesn't exist. Okay? Alright. Means completely disappeared. Disappeared. Shikpa. Shikpa. It's like also, destroyed. Cease to exist. Okay? So that's the one side of it. The object trusted in, believed by the ignorant mind, has been destroyed through analysis. Okay? Now, does that then lead one into this view that then nothing exists? A view of nihilism? No. Because that person also sees the cause and effect of all phenomena in both psychic existence, and the state beyond sorrow means in nirvana. That basically means everything, right? Everything that exists is included in that. Okay? So cause and effect is operating, cycle of existence, state beyond sorrow. All of these conventional truths are there, unbetraying. But true existence doesn't exist. So conventional existence exists. True existence doesn't exist. That's the ultimate nature of all phenomena. So there are these two levels of truth we see again and again, right? Conventional truth, ultimate truth. Kunsu Tenpa, Dundan Tenpa. Yeah? And so those are harmonious. Having this, then, we'll see later, right? Prevents us from falling into the extremes of either nihilism, that things don't exist whatsoever, or eternalism, that things exist inherently, truly, from their own side. How do we avoid that? They exist conventionally, not ultimately. If not ultimately, how do they exist? As a dependent arising. So remember, this ultimate level of analysis, it's asking, it's inquiring how phenomena exist, how they exist, how the cup exists. But that presupposes the existence of a cup, upon which we analyze its mode of existence. You understand? Okay. The definition of not having complete analysis of the right view. If the appearance of dependent relation, which is unbetraying, is accepted separately from emptiness, and as long as they're seen as separate, then one has still not realized the Buddha's intent. Okay? So this is what I alluded to, this harmony of dependent origination, dependent relation, and emptiness. Okay? So, there's a huge amount of debate about this, how these two are related.
What is the state beyond sorrow?
State beyond sorrow is nirvana.
And what's the difference between dependent origination and emptiness? What's the difference?
That's what I'm right beginning to talk about.
Thank you.
This is what I was saying. There's a lot of debate about this, how those two are related. So, to really get into this, we need a long time. Okay? But for now, see. Let me just say it like this. Emptiness is what? Emptiness of true existence, and so this has different kind of synonyms, right? True existence, inherent existence, existence from the object's own side, right? Objective existence, okay? And what all those mean is that a phenomena doesn't depend on another for its existence. Independent, right? So when we talk about, to give some notion, it's an approximation. So later we're going to have to get more refined, but just for now, right? We have the body and the mind, okay? Now, is there some I, some essence of me that is independent from my body and my mind. Hmm?
Could you repeat?
There's my body, my mind. Is there some essential I-ness that is independent from my body and my mind?
Yes.
That's not how we perceive it.
Okay.
So what you can mention it.
So, if we're saying that, there is an I that is independent from my body and mind, then we would be accepting the inherent existence of the I, of me. Now, there's different ways that things can relate. One way, the sort of most basic way, is that everything that is produced by causes and conditions depends on those causes and conditions. So a sprout depends on a seed, right? Without a seed, you can't have a sprout. So it's a causal relationship. If the seed existed in and of itself, inherently means not depending on other phenomena, then you would have the arising of sprouts without the seed coming first. But that's not the case. So that level of dependent relation, okay, is accepted separately from emptiness by the people in the mind-only school, mind-only practitioners. Again, those of you who haven't studied tenets very much, then we can maybe talk about this later. But what they say, they're the ones who have these two understandings as separate. For them, they say, the sprout is a dependent origination, but the sprout is also inherently existent. For them, they use this thought, the fact that it arises, they think, okay, if it's not inherently existent, then it's just some kind of, we say merely labeled by the mind, right? They say, oh, it would just be like a mental fabrication. But the sprout, we know it's not a mental fabrication because we see it arise from a sprout. It's actually there. Now, this is not the right view. But I'm saying, because we're going through this. And Lama Tsongkhapa is talking about the definition of not having completed the analysis of the right view. So this text is composed from the perspective of the Prasangika Madhyamika tenet system of Buddhism. And so all the other tenet systems, they haven't completed the analysis of the right view. Because these are seen as separate things. Dependent arising over here, oh yeah, the sprout, dependent arising. Hey, is it empty of inherent existence? No way. So they're seen as separate. Right? So for Tsongkhapa, those things need to be harmonious. Okay? So now we have the definition of having completed the analysis. If these two realizations are happening simultaneously without alternation, and from merely seeing dependent relation as completely unbetraying, the definite ascertainment comes that completely destroys the way all objects are apprehended as truly existence. At that time, the analysis of the view is complete. So this is very, 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 very subtle, very difficult. But let's just say this, okay? I'll give you a little bit easier way to understand. you see, normally we talk about, dependent and, independent. So actually true existence, we said, inherent existence would be independent from any other phenomenon. So if it's dependent arising, then it's not independent. Right? Something can be both dependent and independent. Okay. So, from merely seeing the dependent relation as completely betraying, the definite ascertainment comes that completely destroys the way all objects are apprehended as truly existent. At that time, the analysis of the ultimate view is complete. Now, there's a problem, because these two realizations, can they happen simultaneous and without alternation?
Only in a Buddha.
Why? Why only in the Buddha? So, okay, so first of all, you understand, these two realizations, what are the two realizations?
Direct realization of emptiness.
Okay, I'm sorry, yeah, I shouldn't be shaking my head. Yeah? No. So it's not that. Okay, we're running out of time. So look, remember, in the previous stanza, we have dependent relation and the view of emptiness. So those two. And then that led to a Bond's question. What's the relation between the two? Right? So, to realize something is a dependent origination, and to realize something is empty of inherent existence. Can those two be realized at the same time?
It means the same thing. It means the same thing. To be empty of inherent existence is to be dependently originated.
If you realize one, you can't realize the other.
I don't see the difference.
Okay, so...
They also say they understand, but things still appear in some way. What they call for arhat, they have an understanding of emptiness, and in the meditation it happens. But how things still appear to them when they are not in a meditative state is not like that. So probably after that level, when the appearance and apprehension of things both happen, that's the level of it. So I think I've complicated more.
Okay, so I'll ask the question again. Can one have the simultaneous realization that something is dependently arisen and empty of inherent existence? So a lot of people are saying yes, right?
For me, it's possible to realize it as a concept, but for me it is possible to think of it as a concept that is possible,
Yeah.
but I have not realized it in my practice.
Okay. So now here's the thing. And I think, was it you, Amon, who said, that's the very meaning of what it means for something to be, or was it you? Empty means it's a dependent origination. So then, now, let's remember our friends, the mind-only school, who accept the sprout to be a dependent origination, but don't accept it to be empty of inherent existence. So if they realize, do they realize the sprout is dependent origination?
Yes.
They do.
At a higher level, yeah.
So this is, when we're on the debate court, it's just yes, not all this buts. Okay? Right? Yes. So then, if we're then asserting that that's the meaning, then if they realize that it's a dependent origination, they should realize it's empty of inherent existence. If it was, really the same. Okay?
So what's the difference then, if it's not the same? Empty means it's empty of inherent
Avan. Okay, so remember, you asked the question, I said, really to get into this, it would take a long time, longer than we have.
In 14 doses?
Well, no, it'll take longer than that. We'll have to really get into more stuff. But right now, I'm not even, see, and you should know me by now, I'm not into just giving you the answer. What good would I do you? I want to give you the difficult thing that you then chew on until we meet next time, however many weeks, months, eons from now.
Next month.
Okay, maybe. Let's see. You understand? Because, look, this is what I'm trying to get at, right? Okay, in general, right, meaning of emptiness, all phenomena lack inherent existence. Okay? Now, we're going to become like parrots. All phenomena lack inherent existence. All phenomena lack inherent existence. No way. Is that getting us any closer to enlightenment? No, right? We need to use analysis to see how the ignorant mind grasped onto the object of negation. So what is that? That we haven't even done. Remember, those of you who have studied a bit before, the first step in realizing emptiness is always identifying the object of negation. So what do we even mean by inherent existence? That we've kind of glossed over, honestly. You know? I'm giving you the words. We can all parrot the words. But then now, you know, I just give you like a tree of words, and you can, you know, say the same words that would come out of Narijuna Chandrakirti's mouth, but is it any closer to enlightenment, a realization of emptiness? So rather than saying, oh, what's the answer, I want to say, these are the problems that you should be thinking about. So, when we ask the question, is dependent arising and emptiness, is it this kind of one-to-one? If we say yes, the problem is, then, wouldn't it be then, anyone who realizes something is a dependent arising would then necessarily realize that it's empty? And then we have counterexample. Even the farmer, forget about mind-only school, the farmer who's never, you know, touched a philosophical book in his or her life, I mean, maybe they have fewer problems on one level, fewer headaches than us. But anyway, do they not understand that the sprout arises from the seed? That's why they plant the seeds in the springtime. Of course they realize that. Do they realize the dependent arising? That the sprout is a dependent arising? Okay. So we either say yes or we say no. They realize that the sprout has arisen from the seed, but they don't realize it's a dependent arising. Then it's a kind of mental pretzel. So, it's good. We go down these different paths of reasoning. We say, okay, well, if we accept the same in terms of synonymous, then what about the farmer? What about this? Okay, then our rabbit are kind of not. Oh, but if we say it's not, then what the heck is Samkhapa saying? You know? And right now, we should be having more proliferation of these thorny problems that we then, what is the answer? Tsongkhapa himself, in the praise of dependent origination, says, you know, his mind was tormented by doubt. After he pored over the texts of the Indian masters and the previous Tibetan scholars, his mind was, you know, tormented by doubt. Have we pored over the texts of the Indian masters, the Tibetan masters? Or we just want, you know, Namjong, please teach a 14 stanza text. And I want realization of emptiness in a 2-hour session.
Dharma in daily life.
Huh? Well, no, forget about that. Even this session, you know, even this session. No, it's not going to happen. But, Aban, so you gave me one question. I'm giving you more questions for your question. And you should be, yes, that's what I want. Huh?
That's not what I want because you've really surprised me.
What do you mean?
I always thought that emptiness was a synonym for dependent origination. That's what I always thought. And now you've confused me completely. Because I don't know what emptiness means.
No. You should know what emptiness means. Emptiness means the lack of inherent existence.
Yeah, but then so does dependent origination.
Well, so...
That's exactly what it means.
So, everything that is a dependent origination is empty of inherent existence.
Yes, exactly.
Okay? Is everything that is empty of inherent existence necessarily a dependent origination?
Yes, it would have to be. If this equals this, if this equals this, Venerable, then
That's
this
a big
equals
if.
this.
That's a big if.
What
No,
about
all right.
something non-existent?
When this equals this, then this equals this.
Yes. So now I'm challenging whether those are actually equivalent in the way that you're asserting. Now,
Give me an example where it's different.
horn of a rabbit.
Non-existent phenomena.
The horn of a rabbit is empty of inherent existence, right?
Because it doesn't exist
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
Is it a dependent arising?
No, it isn't.
Okay, there you go.
No, but that's that is not practical. How does that affect us? In
First you get
practical
upset.
life?
Give me the answer. I can't believe you won't give me the answer. Then I give you the answer, and then what?
It doesn't make any sense. The horns of a rabbit and the elephant in the room and all that. I mean, it's nice. It's okay if you're doing a thesis, a PhD, or writing out reams and reams of stuff for somebody else to pass you. But it doesn't make sense in practical life.
Even horn of rabbit is
It's empty of inherent existence because it's empty of existence.
It doesn't exist. It's a made-up
Right.
thing.
So it's not inherently existent.
Yeah. So,
But it's
so
not a
we have-
dependent arising because it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
So I know, and you should feel a bit let down, because that's not a very profound thing, I agree. But it doesn't have to be profound to, all I have to do is give one counterexample to disprove that those two are synonymous. It means equal in every
That's
way.
pedantic. I mean, that, no, Venerable, it doesn't, how does it help us? I mean, my dream last night is also then empty of inherent existence. But
Yes.
okay, so fine. I mean, it doesn't bother me that it was. I can't say that therefore I have realized emptiness.
Okay, look. We're running out of time.
No, please explain that.
But I'm going to say, you see, even if I say to you, right, like your previous thought that emptiness means dependent arising
For all practical purposes.
for all practical purposes, okay? Now, that's what you held. I could have given you that as an answer. Now, just saying those words, true or not, is that bringing you any closer to realizing emptiness?
Yeah, because I thought I was understanding it conceptually.
Conceptually.
Yeah, so that is what conceptual understanding is.
The way to do, right, in those 4 steps, we talk about in Namjong, identifying the object of negation. That's the one that yogis spend years trying to do. They go to the marketplace, get pushed around, and the sense of the I comes up. Then you see, oh, how's the I appearing to me at this time? You get a sense then of what it means for something, that appearance of this larger than life sense of the I. You get some sense of what the object of negation is. But that is the most important step. Do that over and over and over again. Then these next steps come. Okay? So this is the one, and why I'm very reluctant. See, I can say, oh, emptiness and dependent arising, oh yeah, they're synonymous. The point is, we don't know really what emptiness means because we don't really know what inherent existence means. We don't really know what dependent arising means because, well, we've just talked about dependent arising in terms of causes and conditions, but there's also dependence on its parts and dependence on the basis of designation, the label, and the mind labeling.
All kinds of dependence.
Right? So there's all these things. Okay? So, we said the need to be a Buddha. Why do we need to be a Buddha? Because then when we're omniscient, we can give the best teaching dependent on whatever student we meet. Right? So, I'm not a Buddha, I'm sorry. But my thought is, don't, for you, don't just, oh, I have to have the answer. Tell me the answer. Well, and then, you read Nagarjuna and you turn to the last stanza looking for the answer. No, it's not that. It's very subtle. It's not easy. Don't look for the answer. Look for more questions that you analyze and see how these operate within your own mind. Right? Then you might get a glimpse, next time someone cuts you off driving. How dare they? Oh, my eye appeared to me like this. Okay, was that independent of my body and mind? Was there something kind of above and beyond? What was that? And recall and see, right? And then the other, as you continue to study, get more and more glimpses of it. Then you can see, oh, I think I get some idea now what they mean with dependent arising. And the more examples you hear, the example which we gave about the A, those 3 lines appearing as A to you, not to someone who hasn't learned the English alphabet, the Roman alphabet. Okay, that's another little hint, little clue pointing to what these concepts mean. But for now, since we're out of time, the other thing to think about, right? When we use any kind of reasoning, right? Did we go over this before? The reasoning would be we have a subject, predicate, and the reason. So we would say, take the subject, a sprout. It follows that it's empty of inherent existence because it's dependent arising. Okay? Now, for that to be a valid reason, the sprout needs to be a dependent arising. Whatever is a dependent arising is necessarily empty of inherent existence. And the person, there has to be a person who realizes the sprout is a dependent arising, but still is wondering, is it empty of inherent existence or not? Do you get that point? If I said, Tenzin Namjong is an American because he's an American man, okay? That's not a valid reason because there's no one who realizes that Tenzin Namjong is an American man and is still wondering, is he American or not? Right? Right? You understand? So, if the realization of something being a dependent arising necessarily entails you have to realize it's empty of inherent existence, then the reason of dependent arising wouldn't be a valid reason to prove its lack of inherent existence. But that's what we see in the text. Now I'm getting quite, this is a little bit formal logic, but hey, we're going to be realizing emptiness for the first time based on logic. So, based on logic means not because, whatever teacher, even Shakyamuni Buddha himself, all those sutras, the students still have to do the work, right? So, that one is not just pedantic. That stuff with the horn of a rabbit, okay, fine. But remember, that is enough to disprove something being synonymous, even if it's a silly or you might think trivial example. But this other point, that's real challenge. That one ultimately, you know, that's indisputable. Because that would entail dependent arising not being a valid reason to establish. Just like establishing Tenzin Namjong as an American, you can't use because he's an American man. Right? You understand? You understand that point? Anyway, that's getting into a little bit of formal logic, but that's an important one. Right? Okay, let me just finish these last two stanzas.
But what is unbetraying? Who or what is unbetraying?
If okay, let me look at the Tibetan. Okay. 나와 텐별루와 메바다. Yeah, so what is unbetraying is the appearance of dependent relation. So actually here, oh, it's interesting. Here in the updated translation, they have it a little bit different. Here it says, if the appearance that is unbetraying dependent relation. Is accepted separately from emptiness. As long as these two understandings are seen as separate, then one has still not realized the Buddha's intent. So, here, the point is, unbetraying dependent relation. Okay? If the appearance that is unbetraying dependent relation is accepted separately from emptiness. So everything that exists is dependent relation. And that is a fact. Everything that exists is undependent relation, that's unbetraying. Means no exceptions. Okay? So, let me finish up. If these two realizations are happening simultaneously without alternation, and so let me just give you the next little problem. Because I was asking you, can you realize these two simultaneous? Right? Remember how we got down this rabbit hole? Do you? Sometimes we go down rabbit holes and we're like, how did I get here? But this was the question. Can these happen simultaneous? And, you know, if we said they're equivalent, then it'd be very easy. Right? They're happening simultaneously because they must happen simultaneously because they're equivalent in those manners we described. Right? That'd be easy. That'd be an easy way out. Maybe some of you want that. But the problem is, here's the other problem. Remember, emptiness is what we call a non-affirming negation. You guys know? It's a negation that doesn't imply something in its place. So the famous one we use is the lack of elephant in this room. When we say there's no elephant in the room, it's something we can realize, but when we refute something, the elephant, but we don't imply anything in its place. We don't say what there is in the room. We just say, no elephant. Therefore, it's a negation, it negates elephant, but it doesn't affirm or assert anything in its place. Right? Whereas the famous one of an affirming negation is, you know, corpulent Devadatta. Devadatta, the Buddha's cousin, right? corpulent Devadatta doesn't eat during the day. Corpulent means overweight, right? So anyway, the point is, in the Buddhist time, right, they would have just one meal before noon. And Devadatta was very jealous of his cousin the Buddha, and to kind of show off that he is, practicing more austerity than the Buddha, he wouldn't eat during the day. But in secret, at night, he would eat. But he would give it off this air that, about the Buddha eating, he has to rely on food, right? So, he gained weight. So that kind of showed that he was eating at night. So when we say corpulent Devadatta doesn't eat during the day, it's negating something, him eating during the day. Because we say corpulent, then we're implying he eats at night. So emptiness, lack of inherent existence, is a non-affirming negation. Dependent origination. What is that? Is that a non-affirming negation?
No.
No, right?
It's a positive phenomenon.
It's a positive phenomenon. And these are more technical things. But the other difficulty is, can those be realized simultaneous? A positive phenomenon and a negative phenomenon realized at the same time, same mind? What do you think? Difficult. So then, what is talked about here? If these two realizations are happening simultaneously without alternation, and for merely seeing dependent relation as completely non-betraying, the definite ascertainment comes that completely destroys the way all phenomena are apprehended as true existent. At that time, the analysis of the ultimate view is complete. Furthermore, appearance eliminates the extreme of existence, and emptiness eliminates the extreme of non-existence. If you realize how emptiness manifests in the manner of cause and effect, you are not captivated by wrong notions, holding extreme views. This also has a big, a lot of discussion in the commentaries, but I'll just say this. The normal way we think about it, dependent origination. Dependent origination. So we have these two extremes of nihilism and eternalism. Nihilism, nothing exists. So normally we think arising refutes nihilism. It's not non-existent because it arises. Then, emptiness of inherent existence, independent existence, So the extreme of eternalism is refuted by dependent. It's dependent, therefore it lacks independent existence. Okay? So then, to put it another way, normally we think, here it's saying, appearance eliminates the extreme of existence. Normally we would think, is that non-existent? No, can't you see it? It appears. So normally we would think appearance eliminates the extreme of non-existence. And then emptiness, hey, is it inherently existent? No, it's empty of inherent existence. Normally we think emptiness eliminates the extreme of existence, means inherent existence. But here in this stanza, it's reversed. So what's the point? Here I'll give you the answer. I'll give you the words of the answer. So here what that means is, right, if, here extreme of existence means extreme of inherent existence. So if something appears to the mind, it appears to the mind as being a dependent arising. Right? The fact that you can see this cup depends on the presence of the cup. Even if you're hallucinating a cup, it then depends on whatever drugs or something you took that you're now hallucinating. Right? Because we don't always see a cup, the fact that your eye consciousness arises sometimes and not other times means that that eye consciousness is dependent on other factors. Hence, appearance eliminates the extreme of true inherent existence. If something were true inherent existent, then it would never change. It wouldn't be dependent on other factors. Okay? Then, emptiness eliminates the extreme of non-existence. So, this it's a just by the words, it's a little bit confusing, but we say it like this. The emptiness is because this appearance is a dependent arising. So we're presupposing, remember we're saying, if we have the cup and we're analyzing how it exists, we have to have a basis upon that's existent, that we then analyze the mode of existence. Okay? So the emptiness, right? Okay. This appearance is a dependent arising. Everything that then is a dependent arising arises. So eliminates the extreme of non-existence. It's convoluted a little bit, but that's what it means. Basically, yeah. D.
So my question is, I think also like about why do we have to look at things that are non-existent? I mean, we do mental factors and all that, but when you're talking of the elephant, for example, or if you're talking about, the other example that you gave, why are we analyzing that when it is not the rabbit with the point, when it's not there? Don't we need to kind of look at things that are physically around us, or things that we think about wrongly? And
well, so this is the thing, okay? Inherent existence doesn't exist. Okay? So there are some things which in actuality don't exist, but we think that they exist, and we get into all this trouble. So, it's not just that, that doesn't exist anyway, we don't have to worry about it. I mean, in general, for horns of a rabbit, okay, fine. But there are classes of phenomena, and this actually, it does come up in the texts, right? Where there are, okay, the self doesn't exist, the emptiness of the self exists, right? So there are some phenomena that, even though they don't exist, we still can analyze.
so you're saying self itself is a non-existent thing that we're grasping?
Yes. The ignorant mind grasps it. Okay. In this way, you realize exactly the vital points of the three principal aspects of the path. Resort to seeking solitude, generate the power of effort, and quickly accomplish your final goal, my child.
Ends with love.
So, anyway. It was good. Even if you're a little bit confused, it's okay. The point is, for us at our level, I think it's good that, I think I mentioned last night, some of you weren't here, but, those with little merit don't even doubt this doctrine, but even merely attaining a doubt tears the foundation of samsara to shreds, right? So normally we go through life not asking too many questions, accepting how things appear to us as the reality. But this concept, right, that, the way things exist and the way they appear are, not the same, that's found in like Plato's allegory of the cave, even, Maya, like this concept comes up a lot, right? So the fact that we have some questions, the fact that we're now like, oh, that's strange, that's funny, is good. If we didn't have merit, we wouldn't even ask these questions. But now, try to, entertain some doubts. And then we analyze more. Hey, wait a minute, something's funny going on. And as we do that, we continue to ask the right questions, maybe even some wrong questions, we'll get closer and closer to the truth. So, in any case, in a brief session like this, we can't, of course, cover everything, but I hope that at least gave you a little bit of an overview of some of the challenges, some of the concepts, some of the challenges, and I hope it will be a basis for your further studies. So thank you very much. Let us now just dedicate the merit that all sentient beings can quickly be free of all their suffering due to this merit from our time here today. May all sentient beings be quickly free from all their suffering and attain the state of enlightenment as soon as possible. And then all the problems facing the world, the problems due to war, environmental problems, economic problems, problems due to illness, may all these instantly be pacified. And also for the long lives of our spiritual friends, particularly the souls that are on the lives of membership. Okay, thank you.